What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hanna Horror here. Today, guys, I want to talk about, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. We did that video on Halloween 3, from Forsaken to Fan Favorite. And I called this one Friday the 13th, Part 5, From Oddball to Odds-On Favorite. This movie is really interesting because people absolutely love this sequel now. And I want to talk about what I think is going on and what I think it is that so many people like about A New Beginning. It's interesting. When I go back to the first time I watched A New Beginning, it was me and my brother, and we were watching the movies together because he likes horror too. He's not the freak that I am. But I remember we were watching 1, 2, 3, 4. We were loving them. And we were watching 5. And we were laughing throughout the movie because it was clear to me that this movie did not have characters that had, heart and soul, so to speak, or characteristics that the average person could relate to in Part 5. And it was really sleazy's the word that's thrown around with the movie. It was really wild and crazy. But we were laughing. I mean, there's a scene where a guy has to go to the bathroom because he was eating Mexican food. And so we get to the end of the movie, and I remember my brother, who's very monotone. We get to the end. Boom! Jason falls on the spikes. The mask comes off. And I remember my brother going, "Oh, it wasn't Jason." And I was like, wow, it wasn't Jason. What's going on? Because my first time watching it, I wasn't thinking, why is Jason wearing a blue suit? It never crossed my mind. I was ignorant to what I thought was going on, or it was so ridiculous. You know how Nightmare Part 2 is supposed to be the most gayest horror movie, which I love Nightmare 2. I didn't see it. And it was the same thing for Part 5. I didn't see it wasn't going to be Jason. It was Roy. And so I just thought, I don't know, that was interesting. I didn't know what to think. So I kept going through the series, and I would find myself wanting to revisit 5 more so than the rest a lot of the times, but I could never understand why. All these years later, it's interesting. I go to Texas Frightmare, one of the best conventions in the U.S., once a year. There are more Roy Burns t-shirts, there are more Roy Burns cosplays than any other Friday the 13th every single year I go. And it's just really interesting. You'll see your tater sack Jasons, you'll see a good old-fashioned Part 3 or a Part 4 walk around. I see more blue chevron Jason or Roy's. I see more Roy t-shirts like one I'm wearing now. I see more Part 5 stuff at these conventions every year, and every year it keeps growing and growing and growing. And it makes me wonder, what is it? What is it about Part 5 that so many people like? When I try to break this down, and hear me out, Part 5, in 2 words for me, or 3 words, is an absolute hot mess. And I think people love that. This is what I'm getting at. Let's break this down. There are characters who have no positive redeeming qualities about themselves. Pretty much the majority of them. And Roy Burns is the least of our problems. Think about this. The movie starts out at basically an inpatient rehab center. A halfway house, whatever you want to call it. It's inpatient. They can't just leave. They're there. They're committed to these hospitals. And you've got a doctor and his secretary, or nurse practitioner, whatever Melanie Kinnaman was supposed to be. And they tell Tommy when he gets here, we're on the honors policy. A psych rehab facility is on the honors policy. What is going on? Every character in this movie, they don't care about nothing. They don't care. There is you've got a doctor giving patients axes. Weaponry. You were giving patients weaponry. Who wrote the script? It's bizarre. It's crazy. You've got patients wielding axes, chopping wood, unsupervised. Did I mention unsupervised? I mean, it's ridiculous. You've got a kid who gets killed because he's annoying, probably a guy that had anger issues, to say the least. I mean, the guy looks like he was about to just murder everyone there. The paramedics show up, and you find out that one of them was his dad, who's right there. Why is he not raising his kid? It's like, and why does he care that he's dead now? You didn't raise your kid. What is going on? This movie is a mess, but I think that's why people love it. I love it because it is hilarious. But at the same token, there are many other examples of how crazy this movie is. But at the same token, guys, Part 5 is the most quoted Friday the 13th movie I see. Like I talked about with the t-shirts and stuff, let's look at some of the quotes. These are some of the quotes of Friday the 13th Part 5, and it is insane. The song, ooh baby, people love the song. If that's the way you feel about it, just forget it, Vic. Solid. I ain't afraid of no spiders. You're gonna get it. I don't curse on this channel. Dang those enchiladas. I see t-shirts of that. Come on, Roy, get your hands dirty. Eat your effing slop. There's so many quotes. It's the most quoted Friday the 13th movie I've ever seen. T-shirts, hats, posters. It's a hot mess, but I think people absolutely love how crazy the movie is. It is so deadly entertaining to so many people, and I'm there. I find the movie so wildly entertaining because all of these characters are just ridiculously crazy, including the supervision, the doctor who seemingly is like this all the time behind his desk, giving axes to patients unsupervised. They have more freedom there than most average citizens do just on their daily lives. Less supervision than being free. But because of all this craziness and the kills, I love the kills in Part 5. The belt across the face in the tree, iconic images. It was used on foreign posters. You've got great moments with Debbie Sue Voorhees, who is everybody's favorite girl from the Friday films. And the hedge clippers to the face, you don't see it, but ooh, you feel it. There's great... I think people get what they want from the Friday the 13th in terms of the slashing, but the characters are so crazy that people just love it. They love Reggie the Reckless. Here's a young kid who doesn't need to learn anything. He's got life all figured out. He's so sure of himself with everything he does. And he's charming. You know, the movie is so bizarre, but I love Part 5. There is not a dull scene in the movie. Sometimes when you watch certain Friday the 13th films, you say, ooh, we're getting ready to get to the paintball scene in Part 6. In Part 5, for me, every single scene is entertaining. I love it. The police chief is like, I know who it is. It's Jason Voorhees. And then the guy's like, what do you mean he's dead? Like, every scene is crazy. The two guys in the stalled car with the flare in the mouth. Every scene, I think, offers something for a lot of Friday fans to enjoy. It's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not. But every single year, I see more t-shirts for Part 5. I see more I get requested for Friday Part 5 fan groups on Facebook once a month. People love this movie, and I think that's what I'm trying to break down what I think it is. And I think I'm close to figuring it out. I just think people are wildly entertained by Part 5, and I know I am. I love it. I had to get a Part 5 Roy Burns in my horror room. I love the film so much. So, what is your story? Did you always love Part 5? Did it grow on you? Did you realize this film is crazy and it's so entertaining? What is it? Or do you not like the film? Either way, I want to know your story. I just find it interesting that this film is growing like a weed, and people are just flocking to Part 5 like crazy, more than really any Friday the 13th that I see. I could be wrong, but from what I see, the fandom is getting wild for Part 5. So tell me your story. Do you love the film or do you not like the film? What are your favorite things about it? This is Christian Hanna Horror. We'll see you guys next time.